The first time I saw him, he was covered in blood and dust, and I hated him instantly for surviving when so many didn't. But when his hand reached for mine in the chaos, I didn't pull away. It was the middle of downtown Los Angeles, just hours after the quake. Sirens howled. Smoke blurred the night sky. I sat on the curb outside a collapsed bookstore, my knuckles raw from clawing through rubble, my chest heaving as if I could cough up the entire weight of the world. Then he appeared stumbling, coughing, dragging a half-broken backpack, eyes wide with the same kind of terror I saw in the mirror. His name was Liam. I didn't ask. He told me anyway, like a confession. We were strangers. But that night, survival didn't leave space for strangers. "Sit," he said softly, kneeling beside me even though I hadn't asked. His hands shook as he offered me a bottle of water. I stared at it, then at him, then back again. My throat was burning, but pride made me stubborn. "You think I can't handle this?" I muttered, my voice hoarse. Liam didn't flinch. He pressed the bottle into my palm. "I think you shouldn't die of dehydration." Something about his steadiness irritated me. Or maybe it terrified me, because steadiness felt impossible after I'd just watched the ground swallow half the street. But I drank. And when my hands shook too hard to hold the bottle, his fingers brushed mine, steadying me. We didn't speak much after that. Just sat there, shoulder to shoulder, as if the silence itself was the only thing keeping us from breaking. The shelters were overcrowded. Families clung together. Lovers cried into each other's arms. Children whimpered in the dark. But Liam and Itwo, strangers with no one left, ended up shoved into the same corner of the gymnasium floor, wrapped in scratchy, donated blankets. I told myself I didn't care. I told myself I would survive this alone. But when the aftershocks rattled the walls at 2 a.m., my body betrayed me. I flinched, curled tight, breath ragged with panic. And Liam, damn him, reached for me. His arms slipped around me like it was the most natural thing in the world. His chin brushed the top of my head, and I felt his heart pounding against my cheek. "I got you," he whispered, voice trembling. "But sure, just breathe. I'm here." I should have shoved him away. I should have reminded myself we were strangers, that his warmth wasn't mine to take. But instead I clung. My fists balled into his shirt, and I hated myself for the relief that surged through me when his arms tightened. That was the first night I slept. By the third day, we had routines. He scavenged. I fixed things, flashlights, radios, even a busted heater the shelter found. People began to look at us like we were a pair, even though we weren't. Even though we couldn't be. Except, in some twisted way, maybe we already were. "You always fix stuff?" Liam said one night, watching me tinker with a cracked flashlight. His voice was quiet, almost reverent. "Guess that's who you are. The guy who puts things back together." I snorted. "Everything's broken. You can't fix this." He leaned closer, so close I felt his breath on my neck. "Maybe not everything." I froze, fingers tightening around the cold plastic. The flashlight flickered, then died again. My chest burned with something I refused to name. "Don't," I warned. I didn't even know what I was warning him against. But Liam just smiled, tired and gentle, as if he could see right through me. "The truth is, grief makes you selfish. I'd lost my brother in the quake. My parents, God knows if they were alive. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face, me brother's hand slipping out of mine as the building collapsed. And yet here I was, clinging to someone else's hand like it could keep me afloat. I hated myself for it. And yet, every night when the tremors shook us awake, it was Liam's chest I pressed my face into. It was his heartbeat that pulled me back from the edge of panic. And he let me, every time, until one night, when I whispered into the darkness, my voice breaking, "Why are you here? Why me?" He shifted, his fingers tracing circles against my back, hesitant, almost shy. "Because you look like you're about to fall apart. And I don't want to survive this alone either." The words cracked me open. I didn't kiss him. Not then. But my grip on him that night was the tightest yet. Like if I let go, the world would collapse all over again. By the end of the first week, strangers weren't supposed to feel like home. And yet, somehow, he did. I caught myself memorizing the curve of his smile, the way his blonde hair caught the pale sunlight, the softness in his eyes when he looked at me like I wasn't just another survivor, but something more. Terrified me. Because earthquakes destroy. That's what they do. They take and take until there's nothing left. And I was scared, so damn scared that if I let Liam in, if I let myself believe in him, the ground would split again and take him too. But every night, when the walls trembled, I still reached for him. And he always reached back. The day I almost lost him was the day I finally admitted what he meant to me. It was late afternoon, the sky bruised purple with smoke and dust. When Liam insisted on helping carry supplies from the rescue trucks, I told him to stay. I told him the ground was still unstable, that another aftershock could come any second. But he only smiled at me, soft and stubborn, like always. You don't get to be the only one trying to fix things, he said, brushing dirt off his jeans before walking away. I watched him go, something sharp clawing inside my chest, but I let him. Because I thought stupidly that I'd have another chance. The aftershock hit 20 minutes later. People screamed. Crates tumbled. A wall collapsed near the trucks. And in that chaos, I couldn't find him. My throat ripped raw as I shouted his name, stumbling over debris, searching through the dust and fear. Every heartbeat was a gunshot in my ears. Then I saw him half buried under shattered concrete. His arm bleeding, eyes glassy with shock. My vision tunneled. My legs moved before my brain could catch up. Liam, stay with me. Damn it. My hands tore at the rubble, skin splitting, nails breaking, until finally I pulled him free. His body sagged against mine, breath shallow, lips trembling as if he was still whispering a prayer. Ethan, he croaked, blood on his mouth, his hand clutching at my shirt. Don't let go. Never. I swore, my own tears streaking dirt across my face. Never. Do you hear me? For a moment it was like the world stopped shaking. The noise faded, the chaos dimmed, and all that was left was him warm, fragile, olive in my arms. The rescue team patched him up. The injuries weren't fatal, thank God. But the fear stayed. That night I couldn't stop hovering. I sat by his side as he lay curled under a blanket, his face pale but his eyes awake, watching me like he knew every storm inside my chest. You should sleep, he whispered. I can't, I admitted. He shifted, making space, patting the blanket. Then come here. I hesitated. Maybe because I knew if I lay down with him, there would be no more pretending, no more strangers, no more denying what I wanted. But then his fingers reached for mine, shaky but insistent, and I couldn't resist. I slid in beside him, and the second his arms wrapped around me, I realized I'd been fighting the wrong battle. The earthquake had already taken too much. Why was I letting it take this too? So I let myself hold him. I let myself breathe against his neck, feel his heart beating under my palm. And for the first time since the ground split open, I wasn't afraid. 2 weeks later, the city was still scarred. Buildings in ruins, lives shattered. But slowly, people began to move forward. Families reunited, volunteers rebuilt, and survivors started learning how to live again. And me? I found myself standing with Liam on the rooftop of a half-collapsed apartment building, the sunset bleeding gold across the wreckage. His hand was in mine, warm and steady, and I thought about how strange it was that out of all this destruction, something so fragile and fierce had been born. You know, he said softly, eyes on the horizon, I used to think home was a place, for walls, a bed, a door you could lock. But now, his thumb brushed against my knuckles. Now I think it's a person. The words broke something in me, something I didn't even realize was still holding out. I turned to him, and before fear could stop me, I leaned in. Our lips met, hesitant, trembling, then certain. His taste was salt and dust and survival. His fingers slid into my hair, and mine tightened on his waist. It wasn't just a kiss. It was a vow. When we finally pulled apart, both of us breathless, I whispered, I don't know what tomorrow looks like, but I know I want you in it. Liam smiled, soft and sure. Good. Because you're the only one I trust to hold me every night. The shelters slowly emptied as survivors found new places to go. Some returned to their families. Some didn't have any to return to. For Liam and me, the answer was simple: we had each other. We moved into a small rental on the outskirts of the city, where the tremors were less frequent and the air smelled of pine instead of smoke. Life wasn't easy. We had little money, fewer belongings. But there was laughter in the mornings, warmth in the evenings, and a bed we shared every night. Sometimes, when the ground quivered, my body still tensed. Panic still clawed at me. But then I felt Liam's hand sliding into mine, his voice whispering against my ear, steady and calm. "Breathe. I've got you." And I believed him. Every time. We weren't strangers anymore. We were survivors, yes, but more than that, we were something the earthquake couldn't destroy. We were love carved out of ruin. And in the quiet dark, with Liam's arms wrapped around me, I knew one unshakable truth. Whatever storms the earth still had left, I wouldn't face them alone, because he was my home, and I was his. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.